for all.
That fire department regulations, notice proper exits.
Sure. There are two doors located here. You have straight out those and straight ahead the main entrance. If those doors are blocked, you can exit through the side door over here.
Thank you. Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes, September 3rd, 2024.
So
Motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of warrants, there is a book with a
Yes.
rather large amount of signatures. Tell John's in there, run something like. I'll entertain a motion, motion,
I'll make a motion to sign the warrant.
all right, there's a second,
Second.
any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence, I have none, Emery. Student Advisory Committee, tonight we have a new Student Advisory Representative Matthew Twombly from Oxford, a drafting senior. Welcome, thank you. Every month, bring some ideas to the table, we'll look forward to hearing them. Cal, you wanna make an introduction?
Nope, through the chair, you did it. This is Matthew Plumley, a grade 12 student, and I drafted from Oxford. Matthew, say a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I'm a student in drafting and I'm part of student council. I'm the president. I'm the vice president of National Honor Society. I'm part of steering committee. I really enjoy being a part of leadership committees in school and taking action, being a part of school. I have two jobs right now. I'm on a co-op job at Prime Metals and I work at a restaurant in Oxford called Oxford's Casual Dining.
If there's anything tonight that you wanna bring up or whatever it be, just raise your hand, I'll acknowledge and we'll take it from there. Alright, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, there is no old business tonight, so we will move to citizen participation.
Hi everyone, most months. But tonight I'm here as the BPTA president and voice of the dedicated unit and members. There are so many wonderful things happening each and every day here at BayPath. However, I must address some urgent concerns that cannot be ignored. Teachers, counselors, support staff, we're all feeling increasingly disrespected. Our compassion is being weaponized against us. This inherent kindness, our drive to support students and colleagues, is being manipulated to justify unreasonable demands and expectations. We are told that we should be working outside of contract hours because it's simply our professional duty to do so, as opposed to the professional responsibility of leadership to ensure our jobs can be done during the workday. We are passionate about education, but we cannot be expected to sacrifice our personal lives and well-being without consequence. We're truly feeling entirely burnt out, and it's only October. This is unsustainable. This pressure contributes to a toxic work environment that ultimately undermines our primary responsibility to educate and support our students. Most of us have dedicated many years to this profession, yet we find ourselves marginalized in the decision-making processes that directly affect our work and our students. It's essential that we recognize the expertise of all stakeholders, teachers, counselors, support staff, students, parents, whose input should be valued and prioritized rather than dismissed. Furthermore, our attempts to communicate these concerns often go unheard. Many of our emails to leadership seeking clarification or support have gone unanswered, leaving us feeling invisible and unvalued. This lack of response reinforces a troubling narrative that BayPath teachers are disposable. But let me be clear, our staff is anything but disposable. We are the backbone of this district, and our contributions are vital to the success of our students. Tonight, you will most likely be informed about positive test scores, which should certainly be recognized. The students and staff have worked very hard to earn those scores, and nothing should be taken away from that. And while we acknowledge and celebrate improvements in test scores, we must emphasize that these figures do not tell the entire story. They overlook the nuanced challenges that our students face daily and the holistic support that those challenges require. Education is about more than just numbers. It's about fostering a nurturing environment where every student can thrive. So when teachers, counselors, support staff celebrate our students' victories alongside them, it's not because those achievements make us look good. It's because we were there with our students through through all of the daily challenges, and we're proud beyond measure to see them succeed. We're calling for a shift in how our district values and respects its staff. We need to create a culture where our input matters, where compassion is a strength rather than a weapon, and where every voice is heard in shaping the future of our school. The state of our district is worrisome. Our pleas for support are brushed off as more initiatives get piled on. Our teachers, counselors, and support staff do not have enough time to fulfill their roles effectively. This lack of time compromises not only our ability to teach, but also our capacity to help our students develop into successful Bay Path graduates. The students and staff deserve better. Please hear us and help us.
Anyone else for the citizen participation?
Hi everyone. My name is Eileen McNamara. I'm a social studies teacher here at Bay Path, and I'm the current vice president of the BPTA. I have stood before this committee twice before. In the same vein, I stand here today to draw attention to the problems that plague our school. Both times I spoke in the fall of 2023, I was trying desperately to ring the alarm of just how toxic a workplace Bay Path has become since the COVID crisis. And I did not do so to embarrass the district or air dirty laundry, but because you are ultimately the people who have been charged to ensure that the mission of the school is sustainable, and that this place is a place where students and staff can come together to work for the community, to create an education that teaches our children the valuable academic and trade skills they need to have every opportunity they want in life, to be successful in whatever way works best for them. But we are continuing to lose staff at an unprecedented rate from Bay Path. When I drew attention to this in the fall of last year, it was countered with the argument that the exodus from Bay Path was still less than the national average or less than the state's average. But I do not understand the mindset that just because other places are worse, it means Bay Path is doing well. We have 23 new staff this year. Some of those are creative positions, but many are due to educators who have left our building, who are not exchangeable in this easy way. While we welcome the new staff, we mourn those educators who had to leave the school for their own mental health or professional longevity. I have grappled with this choice myself, and I'll tell you, last year, after one particularly dismissive faculty meeting in which we were told, if you're not happy, there's the door, I put together my resume. This is my 15th year teaching, my 12th year at Bay Path, and I have thought, and I still hope, that I retire from here. I love this community, I grew up in this town, I love this school, I love the kids, I love the mission here. I have worked in other schools where kids who are smart in so many ways were neglected or made to feel less than because their skills and talents didn't show up as a score on a test. Here we've got kids who are brilliant in their trades, and we get to build them up and create for them a space where they can learn not only how to be successful in a classroom, but how to be successful for themselves. But I put together my resume, I asked for references, because I was breaking down leaving here too many days. Battered by the way we are expected to give more and more without support, without training, and without a respected voice in the direction of the school. I spoke up before you twice, and now I have a letter of reprimand in my file. A letter that is the subject of a grievance before you now, for which I wrote a detailed rebuttal, 2 detailed rebuttals, as to why the letter is for so spurious a charge that I firmly believe the only reason I was disciplined in the manner in which I was, because I came and spoke to you, because I tried to bring your attention that this school is coming to a crisis point. If we cannot turn around the relationship between the top leadership and the staff that do the day-to-day work. Unit A of the BPTA alone has had to file 4 grievances on behalf of different staff and an unfair labor practice charge on behalf of 3 teachers who were disciplined in different ways after speaking out against the working conditions here. I hope you take us coming before you once again as a sign that we need your help. We keep coming to you and speaking about the current state of teaching at the school because we want to stay. You need to look past the rose-colored pictures presented to you in these meetings and ask yourself why veteran staff will continue to lead in numbers we've never seen before, and the long-term impact of that lack of skills, expertise, and talent will have on the school for these kids and the kids to come. We need your help, we need your oversight, we need your support.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public to speak? That we will move on to new business, A presentations, the 2023 accountability data. Kyle?
Yep, excellent to the chair. So, Mr. Scott, can you put together? Excellent. So the 2024 accountability update will show the results that were just unembargoed by the state a week ago, just over a week ago. So next slide. What makes up accountability? We talked about standardized tests, but there's other parts that go into the accountability as well. MCAS is only one portion of it. How it's broken down is districts are awarded points up to 4. On target is a 3, exceeding target is a 4, improved below target is a 2, no change is 1, and decline is 0 points. We're measured on the growth, student growth percentile for each student on that. Next. So this shows a snapshot. It's small, but accountability data includes just MCAS data from 2023, access testing from 2023-24, chronic absenteeism from last year, 4-year cohort graduation rate from last year, extended engagement rate from last year, annual dropout rate, and advanced coursework completion from 23-24. On the side, and you'll see it in a larger photo, you can see that we've made some significant gains and we've got some areas of growth as well that we need to address. Next. Overall progress towards our targets. I'm happy to say that substantial progress towards our targets. If you see 2023 on the bottom, our annual criterion reference target was 43%. We moved that to 64%. Our weight was 40%. That moved to 60% for overall cumulative criterion reference target percentage of 55%, putting us in the substantial progress towards our targets. Last year, we were moderate growth towards the target in the 47th percentile. Next one. MCAS achievement, statistically significant increase in science MCAS, 4 points versus 0 points last year. So that's a huge improvement there. English, 3 points versus 1 point last year. Overall achievement for a significant increase, a 7 versus 1. So 7 points in that category versus 1. No change in math for the achievement in the area of growth on there. There are some wins in math, and we can go over those as well. But again, this breaks it out for 2024 progress towards improvement targets. You can see it, graphically, 7 points out of 12, 4 points out of 8 for total growth. And down below, our 23 was 1 out of 12 and 5 out of 8. So you can see the significant progress towards our goals on that. This just breaks it down for those students that are exceeding expectations, meeting expectations, partially meeting, and not meeting. Some of the blows here are we've gone up over the state and our students meeting the expectations, and more importantly, students not meeting expectations is significantly lower than the state on that. In both of the categories for English and math, you can see a 47 meeting, and the state is 43%, and for math, meeting is 37, 36. Not meeting, we're 8 and 13 for math, and 4 and 2 for this ELA on that. And the next one should be science. Yep. So science, again, our students, we move them out of the not meeting, so failing MCAS into partially meeting, so we see growth in the 51%, but students meeting expectations 39 versus state at 37. So the systems and the processes we put in place and the intentionality around what we're doing have shown remarkable growth, and it's a testament to all our teachers and our staff, support staff as well, and our students achieving at their best level one. Next one. MCAS retest data. So this just shows the students who have the opportunity to retest coming up this November and February. For ELA, we have a total of 15 students, 26 in math and 21 in biology on that. So we already have MCAS after school supports in place for those. Letters went home and those students are targeted, and we're working on helping them achieve success on the next round. Detailed data for each indicator. There's a lot up here, but if you just go down to the last column and you look at meeting targets. So path forward met target for all students in ELA. Math is the one below it. Again, so it breaks it out to the subgroups. We exceeded the target, lowest performing. We improved, but we're still below target for high need students. Low income, we improved, but we're still below the target. We met the target for students with disability. We declined for our Hispanic students, and we met the target for our white students on it. So we identified where we need to grow, where we can, do some intentionality and target those and break the data down. even more and find out what they did well on and what they didn't do well on, and what supports we can put in place. So math is saying all students declined. We improved below target for our lowest performing. We declined in high needs and low income. We improved and were below target with our students with disability. Our Latino students, we declined, and overall we declined for the white students as well. So areas of growth. Next. Detailed data for each indicator on this. So this is the science. Again, exceeded target for all students, improved below target for our lowest performing, our high needs, and our low income students. We exceeded target for students with disability, declined for our Hispanic students, and we exceeded the target for the white students on those. So again, areas where we need to concentrate and other areas where we can look to see what works well there and incorporate those into the other areas. Next. Chronic absenteeism, you can see that we did a good job on this. We exceeded our target for all students. We declined lowest performing, exceeded target for high needs, met the target for low income, met for students with disability, our Hispanic students, and exceeded the target for the white students. Extended engagement rate, high school, that's a 5-year cohort. We have very few students in that category, but you can see the graduation rate, 98.9, so a 99% graduation rate there. I'm happy to show that we've exceeded the target in all categories, and that achievement gap in terms of graduation rate doesn't exist. So they're all performing at or above the general population in 99, 98, 100% there. Next one. 4-year cohort graduation rate, again, 98.2, 90, for all intents and purposes, 98, 98, 98, 100, 98, exceeded targets in all categories there. So that's good news to report. Next one. Summarize everything, our GLOW. Significant science MCAS achievement gains 4 points versus 0. Overall MCAS achievement 1 point to 7 points. Students growth with disabilities increase overall achievement in math and ELA, exceeding target in chronic absenteeism and 4-year graduation rate. And areas for growth. Number of students retaking the science MCAS has increased due to changes in the passing standards, partially meeting expectations above the state level in ELA, science, and math MCAS, but fewer students and the not meeting or failing in that, so that's good news. And our success, 51% over the state and so forth. Next step, students will continue to be given opportunities, interventions to increase grade level content understanding. We have our after school support and individual teacher support on those. Data teams have been meeting, those back up and running. They'll collaborate with the MCAS testing specialists to go over the data and break it down and look at best strategies for support. Continuing to implement tier 1 supports with our classroom in accordance with our district DCAP, and more progress monitoring with iReady, common assessments, and formative assessments, and a target on high quality teaching practices and learning walks guide to practices, all included in our 3-year strategic plan. I want to commend again the staff and the students for success in these areas. Overall, you've seen some of the reports how MCAS declined and the gap due to COVID was widening and we weren't picking up, but I think that trend doesn't follow.
Thank you. Any questions on the presentation?
How do these numbers compare to pre-pandemic?
We can break that down. We'd have to go, 2020 is out, so we have to go back to 2019 and look at that data. So that's all part of the ongoing digging deeper into the data. We want to celebrate, the success that we had with the implementation of some of the programs that we put into place. And it's important to note that those are just starting and we have this growth. So the more that we get more kind of routine on this, it's just going to go up.
I have a question. You're speaking about students and Latin students. What about the mixed students or any other students?
So those are up there, multi-race, non-Hispanic, Latinos. So if we don't have enough population, it doesn't report out. So that's a subgroup as well, multi-race.
And that's all based by the state, so the Department of Education does all those breakdowns.
Yeah, so you can see, I don't know if you can see it over there, but Asian students, African American, multi-race, and health students, there's not a large enough sample group for that data, so it doesn't report it. So we are looking to increase the diversity, and we talked about that, and we'll talk about it again at the full committee about our admissions policy as well.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Item D, appointment of school business manager.
Through the chair of the negotiation subcommittee, the superintendent director and the interim school business manager recommend the school committee vote to appoint Ms. Cindy Schofield as the school business manager. And Cindy is with us tonight. You want this thing up?
Want to take a motion?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Congratulations. Item C, approval of executive assistant to the superintendent employment policy.
Through the chair, the negotiation subcommittee and the superintendent director recommend the school committee vote to approve the executive assistant to the superintendent's employment policy as presented. We have Leah Lambert with us here tonight, shadowing our current secretary. So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Cheryl, you can't vote here. Okay, that passes. E, FY 25 budget transfer.
Through the chair, the superintendent director and the interim business school manager recommend the school committee vote to approve the FY 25 budget transfers as presented. So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. F, surplus equipment, F1B.
We skipped the.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. The approval of appropriation of E&D to cover grant deficits. My apologies.
Through the chair, superintendent director and the interim school business manager recommend the school committee vote to appropriate $33,506.65 for the various grants listed on the attached spreadsheet entitled Special Revenue Fund Balance Detail as of June 30th, 2024, as presented. Remove.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any discussion?
Just a question, and I'm assuming since John has been involved in some of this, the answer is yes, but we have protections in place and checks and balances in place now to prevent this type of thing, because obviously we shouldn't have grants going into a deficit status. So that's a little bit concerning, and I know we're in some transitions to help out with that, but have the checks and balances in place to prevent it going forward?
I believe so. Working with the interim business manager, E&D is certified, and the year report is rectified on that. John, anything?
Yeah, I believe that going forward, the superintendent will work with our new business manager to have regular check-ins as to where the grants stand. Been working with some of the department heads whose responsibility it is to oversee these grants and use them, and making sure they get the proper information. So, for example, budgetary reports on a routine basis, that kind of thing. So, for example, fiscal 25 grants, as they get set up, each of those respective department heads gets a copy of not only their chart of accounts, but their budget for that year. And, I mean, really, a lot of it falls to the business manager.
Right.
Now, the good thing is, and that's why you should never, always have your auditor here on a yearly basis to meet, because they are also integral in making sure that these things don't happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now, surplus equipment, F1B.
Through the chair, superintendent director, vocational director, and the interim school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 2 cube storage shelving units. Also, in addition, and I walked on 9 hardback chairs of little to no value in the surplus equipment that's to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus policy using the most appropriate method available.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. F, metal fabrication.
To the chair, superintendent director, vocational director, and the interim school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 1 Rotex rotary punch and 1 standard press brake, the the surplus equipment was to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus policy using the most appropriate method available.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. F3, PE Health.
Through the chair, superintendent director, the principal, and the interim school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 21 items of PE health equipment on the surplus equipment list to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus equipment policy. Appropriate method available.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. G, approval of JF admission policy.
Through the chair, the negotiation subcommittee and the superintendent director recommend the school committee vote to adopt the admissions policy as presented.
Second. A motion and a second. Discussion. Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. H, approval of outside project, Second Chance Animal Services, North Brookfield and Southbridge.
Through the chair, the superintendent director and the vocational director recommend that the school committee vote to approve the outside project for Second Chance Animal Services in North Brookfield and Southwood locations as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call. Oh, sorry, didn't see you.
Real quick question, is this an ongoing thing or is this a one-time deal with those 5 or 6 things that you listed?
Excellent question. I asked the same question. It's a one-time deal to go over and address some immediate needs on. So it wouldn't be a rotating, we always maintain.
Thank you.
Another discussion. Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item I, discussion, renaming of the George L. Fowler Memorial Field. And I know Phil Davis is here. She sent an email in requesting this item be placed on the agenda. So Phil, if you'd like to take a few moments and speak to that? Thank you.
So my name is Phil Davis. I'm not sure if you guys had seen the email that I did send in on this question. I'm an alumni here at Bay Path, class of 1992. I'm also on the advisory committee. I was elected to the Bay Path Hall of Fame in 2022, and I'm a representative here for the football alumni. Currently, right now, we have a petition that has grown now. So originally, when I sent this email, there was 250 signatures. We have over 500 now to change the name of the main athletic field to renamed after Al Denby, who is a legendary coach here at the school, also a teacher. Currently, the field right now is named after Mr. Fowler. He was one of the original teachers here at Bay Path. I believe he was either auto body or automotive. There's some automotive. I was going to say there's some long-term guys here. After his years of service, he was also the school superintendent here at Bay Path. George also has a field at Burncoat High School. It's actually named after him too. Just through the grapevine, I heard that there was some donation made, and that's how the field was named after him. So I honestly don't know what the reasoning was back in the 80s or 90s. Maybe somebody could tell me, why the field was named after somebody who was not a coach here or a student athlete of the field. Most athletic fields, they're named after players or somebody who at least participated in the sports or the sports program at the school. So I am proposing tonight to rename the main athletic field. One of the greatest coaches here in Central Massachusetts, definitely the best football coach here at Bay Path. And for all you who don't know anything about Al Denby, it's got a couple of stats, and I'll just read them off real quick. So he was a teacher here at Bay Path for 34 years. His accomplishments and achievements as a football player and head coach, not to mention being such a positive influence and a role model for so many players and students. And I put right here, listen, I might be a little biased, but 34 years of coaching, 240 wins, 17 Colonial League championships, 11 Super Bowls, inducted into the Massachusetts Hall of Fame 2012, awarded the Sportsmanship Award 2005, 1990 Shriners Bowl out of Boston, All-Star Game, Bay Path Hall of Fame 2022, Tantascwa High School Hall of Fame, High School All-American from Tantascwa High School, listed in the Hall of Fame at Boston College, given the Centennial Award also at Boston College. He does deserve just a little bit more than the rock in the corner of the end zone that slowly has been forgotten. When most people do think of APAP football, a lot of people think of Al Denby. His footprint was made here on the football team. It is actually what this school has got to today. It's basically based off of what Al Denby and all the kids who wanted to come here, back in the 80s and 90s. And now look at the school today. I mean, it's amazing. So, there might have been a time to have the George Fowler field here at BayPath. It should have never been the main athletic field. It's definitely time for a change. I've looked through some of the school bylaws. I tried looking again, Mr. Brenner. It's not the easiest thing to go through to try to figure out how to rename the school, but I just wanted to come here tonight and basically just read you some of this stuff and have everybody at least think, how much of a positive role model this guy was. And there's some BayPath teachers here. I look around to see a lot of faces that were here when I was here. So, I do appreciate your time. I hope you guys give this some consideration, and we're lucky to have it named Al Denby Field. Thank you.
Thank you for all that research you did, by the way, as well. It's a lot of numbers to put together.
Thank you.
In speaking with Kyle when this had emailed to us, the one thing I mentioned, because again, this is new to us, renaming something is different than naming something. And I asked Kyle, I actually tasked him with trying to figure out, A, when it happened, why did it happen, what was the pleasure of that board? Because again, if we are to take this under consideration, we need to make sure we're not going against the vote of a previous board that sat here and why they undertook such a naming right. So with that, I'll go to Kyle. I don't know if you were able to.
Sure. So what I was able to piece together through the chair, April 5th, 2004, subsequent to Mr. Fowler's death, Mr. Tomaso brought up the idea to dedicate the football field to Mr. George Fowler. He was a superintendent for many years. He was very dedicated to the school. Mr. Garcia stated he could have had it added to next meeting's agenda. Mr. Tomaso agreed. So they went through the process. It was actually on the May 3rd, 2004 agenda. Then Superintendent Steve Mondor presented the agenda item at the last school committee meeting. Mr. Tomaso requested the school committee consider renaming a football field in the memory of Mr. George L. Fowler, a past superintendent at BayPath. In his time at BayPath, Mr. Fowler had served as our automotive department head from 72 to 75, project director from 75 to 76, assistant superintendent director from 76 to 78, and superintendent director from 78 to 89. Mr. Fowler was an outstanding faculty member and administrator at BayPath for 27 years. Before being employed at BayPath, he served for a good number of years at the Bartlett Vocational High School as an automotive instructor. Mr. Fowler passed away on December 24th, 1996. It's the superintendent's recommendation that the school committee vote to rename a football field as the George L. Fowler Memorial Field. That was voted in that meeting, and it was a unanimous vote on that. It was dedicated on November 16th, 2004, with a celebration and refreshments in the gymnasium for Mr. Fowler's surviving family members in school committee and the public on that. I did, so there's an article, I'll give some media science instructor put together a breakdown. George was born July 9th, 1927. He died December 24th, 96, 69 years old. His wife just passed just in 2019. He was lived in Webster all his life. He was a U.S. Army Air Corps World War II veteran. He was a member of the Church of Reconciliation, the Elks Lodge of Masons, and the Shriners Temple. Avid golfer, again, 73 to 75, automotive department chair, 76, technical coordinator, assistant superintendent in 77, moved to superintendent in 79. He retired in 89. Automotive department was renamed in his honor. Notable changes as a superintendent, flexible class schedule, eliminated block schedule format, admissions of out-of-district students, instituted the business technology courses. And there was an article that Bonnie's got, and it did say even after Fowler retired, he regularly attended DayPath functions like the fall football game, said Mr. Bashan. And Mr. Demby, very accomplished, also has the Rock and the MVP award, I believe, was named in his honor in 2016. Recommendation of then Superintendent John LaFlesh, that the award be named the Al Demby Most Valuable Player Award, and that's presented at the last game, Thanksgiving game, the school committee, Thanksgiving game on it. In terms of policies, the school committee has a policy for new facilities, so naming of new facilities. I couldn't find anything about renaming a facility on that.
Thank you. So as I said, I'd like to have a discussion. We did great research on the provenance as to why we named it back then, and I say we because apparently I was on that board. Too many votes to remember. I don't remember much of the discussion, but again, there is no disputing anything like his accomplishments on the football field, without a doubt. One thing I'd like to maybe discuss more in policies within their rights right now, going through the policy manual, is looking at policies for naming facilities and renaming facilities. Again, nothing that we can take an action on tonight because we really don't have a true direction and policy towards it, but let's see what there are for options, because I don't want to have just a rock for a guy with a list that took you 2 minutes to read. It's not fair to someone to put that much blood, sweat, and tears towards this school and towards that field and towards those students. So if there's any discussion or any other thoughts, I'm all ears. Anybody have anything they'd like to add or recommend? Good question. No, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
My question is, in respect to the previous school committee that named it the Fowler Field, is it possible for consideration to add a second name to the field, which is done in many, many, many cases of very respected, prominent people who have done a service to this community and to the school by also recognizing them as part of that, I would say, their abilities, and to show school and the school to show their name as added to
It's definitely a possibility, and I don't think it's a bad one. The other thing that that's been running through my mind is we just redid that concession stand, which is right at the forefront. Field house rather, right at the forefront when you're over there. So again, that's also athletic minded, because again, it's new facilities, not renaming existing facilities that have already been named. So that's still in play as well. So that's why I think what we need to do is probably task the policy subcommittee, who's going through that book right now and seeing where we lie with those policies, and then we find a way to take action or move some actionable item towards. Again, my recommendation, but I'm all ears to.
As a member of the policy committee, we are meeting on the 21st of October, and I'd like to add that to our agenda.
Again, where you're reviewing the policy manual, jump that one up to the top of the list so you guys can.
2 or 3 weeks away. So.
Okay, George?
Through the chair, and as another member of the policy committee, I would love to keep this conversation going. I don't know much about Mr. Fowler. I'm sure he did some great things. The way I look at it is we're probably at a point where now maybe his great grandchildren are enjoying this, and then beyond that, how many people are really paying attention to it? And not to discount anything he's done or the naming of it or the committee who helped in having it named. But we're talking about someone now, and Mr. Demi, and the reason why I want to keep the conversation alive is we're talking about someone who didn't even want this to happen. That's the kind of guy that Al Demby is. He doesn't want this to happen. It's everyone around him that wants this to happen. All of his ex-players who are going to be around for many years to come. All of his fellow staff members who are going to be around for many years to come. So I think it's just an opportunity for us to maybe, for some of us to enjoy on what Al's done for this district. For those players, made young men out of them, and I just can't say enough about him. Again, not to discount his name. I just wanted to make sure that the discussion continues.
No, I agree with George. I would only caution that whenever you start renaming things, you're setting a precedent.
Agreed.
So just be careful of that. That's my only concern.
Is that the question and statement? Do we have, through the chair, Kyle, any idea if the original naming was tied to any financial donation?
It didn't say no. That's why I started with Mr. Tanasso's recommendation in April. It didn't talk anything about finances.
Okay. And then I was just gonna say, if later on, the policy does their thing and we decide to rename it, one thing we could do as a courtesy is reach out if we can find somebody in the Fowler family and tell them we're gonna do it. Could go a long way.
And again, that's why we have to, I think, go to the policy and let's see where it brings us down. So I'd love to pass that to your subcommittee, Peter, and on your next meeting on the 21st, you said?
Yeah, 21st, we're meeting.
All right.
Right, I'd like to also add that Mr. Demby, a dedicated coach and well respected by his previous players, and as Mr. Davis said, bred out his accomplishments. It's amazing of what he has done for the school, and it's something that we should look into.
Great. Did you have something to add? You want to add?
Yes, just one last thing, Mr. Chair. So Al has absolutely no idea that I'm here speaking about this tonight. He would be bent out of shape about it. He is not the guy that wants to be put in the forefront. This is something that we started talking about a couple of years ago. And said he has absolutely no clue that this is on the agenda, and I'm even here talking about this.
Hopefully those other 500 people apply as well when
I was getting emails all last week, I'm like, guys, we're not going to go in there with 200 guys. Like, just let keep going talk. So one thing that we did talk about, Mr. Blanchard spoke about, is possibly also, adding a name, or we also have other complexes up here, at APAP.
Correct.
We have where the football team practices all the time. That could be something if we wanted to, use Mr. Fowler on that side. We want to name it the, Al Denby, the complex itself. Is that something that, we want to think about doing? He's just so tied into football in this school, and if you've never known him, even if you just met him for a couple seconds, he's that guy that he doesn't want to draw any attention to himself. And like I said, when he gets wind of this, he's going to be bent out of shape and over it, but it is.
And you're going to be under the rock, is what you're saying?
I'll be close to it.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. Any other points or discussions? Otherwise, I think what we can do is just move along, go to the next item, and Peter, like I said, the 21st.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Item J, also discussion, which is the mass ballot question number 2, which is eliminating the MCAS graduation requirement. And Mrs. Lemke had reached out to Kyle and myself because, again, being a former town clerk, she's very vested in the elections and things that are going on. And as we see when we read these questions, they can be confusing as to what a yes vote means and a no vote means. So she wanted to touch upon it. Again, Kyle, if you could go through, give a summary as for the people watching at home and even the people sitting here, that this vote, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, has a potential outcome both ways that affects everyone sitting here, that are stakeholders.
Through the chair, and intend to have no bias. Reading right from the election book, question 2, eliminating the MCAS graduation requirement. Graduate from a public high school in Massachusetts, students need to meet the requirements of their local school district and also receive a competency determination from the state. By far, the most common way to get this state sign-off is to pass the 10th grade MCAS exams. Ballot question 2 would greatly diminish the state's role as a gatekeeper to high school graduation. If question 2 passes, students would still need to take the 10th grade MCAS exams, but they would no longer need to earn a passing score or other state approval. Instead, districts would set their own criteria for graduation, informed by state educational standards, but not beholden to any particular state assessment. The shift would empower local school districts, classroom teachers, town officials, and individual communities, allowing for more tailored measures of student achievement. But question 2 would also make Massachusetts one of the few states without a common graduation standard, allowing separate educational expectations in over 300 school districts across our state.
As part of our commitment to help voters understand the state ballot questions, we have analyzed relevant research and spoken with experts and advocates on both sides of the issue. We found that the MCAS requirement rarely prevents students from getting a diploma. Virtually all students who meet district standards also pass the MCAS or otherwise earn a state competency determination. In any given year, there are several hundred exceptions amounting to less than 1% of high school seniors. Question 2 would dramatically lower the stakes of the 10th grade MCAS, potentially freeing teachers to focus less on test prep and more on knowledge and skills that fall outside of test parameters. Letting districts set graduation requirements could make it hard to maintain educational standards across the state. Districts with poor or failing graduation rates would be tempted to compensate by lowering expectations. Students with cognitive disabilities and English language learners sometimes struggle with MCAS and could benefit most from more flexible measures of graduation readiness.
Thank you. Anybody would like to make a point in regards to this or anything that would help anyone understand those ballots? Please. No? Tim?
Is this a non-binding
No,
article?
No.
no,
Binding article.
yes.
That's correct.
Pretty serious.
Did you read what a yes vote means and what a no vote means? Summarized at the bottom.
No, I don't have that one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe.
You have it?
No.
Yeah.
It just
I
happened.
told you she was right.
Right here, on the very top. No, the other side, on the top.
No, that was question 3.
Oh, picture the wrong one.
Question.
That's the ball down, you can't answer
A yes vote. All right. Question 2. A yes vote would eliminate the requirement that students pass the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System in order to graduate high school, but still require students to complete coursework that meets state standards. A no vote would make no change in the law relating to the requirement that a student pass the MCAS in order to graduate high school.
The important part of that all is vote. That's the most important. Again, if there's, Tim's on it.
You know, if, for instance, MCAS gets kicked to the curb, I think you could probably expect the state to come in with something else. And so now we may start from square one again.
We're all over.
So I'm not so sure, you know, we can predict what the heck's gonna happen.
Immediately, MCAS stays, and it will still be used for accountability of the school districts. Students won't have to pass it though. So that's the immediate. So the MCAS will not go away. It will still be used as an accountability measure until the state develops something new. It's my understanding.
So really what this does is drop the graduation requirement.
As far as Dave is concerned, how many students since the inception of the test, and again, this has no bearing on how you vote yes or no. How many students have we had that have not passed the MCAS from 10th grade and all the retries and everything they've had to do?
From guidance, I asked that very question through the chair. Per the records, we had 2 students who received certificate of attainment at graduation. That's not a diploma. Class of 2016, there was 1 student. The class of 2003, we had 1 student who didn't attain statewide. Just numbers, over 70,000 seniors graduate, 700 do not achieve the MCAS.
One more time on that stat.
70,000 seniors in a graduating class, 700 haven't passed MCAS. So less than 1%.
George, through the chair, I think it's less about that final number and more about that miserable journey that those students took. All the times that they were beaten down time after time, and then finally leaving here with less of a document than everyone else around them. So walking out of here, hopefully with a good trade to back them up. But haven't been beat down for how many years? Probably all the way through grammar school, all the way through middle school, and then again high school. These kids might have some phenomenal talents in other areas, whether it be art, music, science, but they can't pass the math MCAS, and we continue to just kind of, it's terrible watching them go into this, the stress, and then the sorrow when they come out of it. So, just a point from the other side.
Appreciate it. Any other points? Right, with that, I will move on to item K, acceptance of superintendent director's FY 25 goals.
To the chair, Gavin, thank you. So presenting the goals, for the 24-25 school year. First is student learning goals, strategic initiative, standing one, in conjunction with the building principal, director of CDP, curriculum coordinator, and building leaders, ensure equitable access to grade level work that is relevant, real world, evidence-based, and interactive so that all students can achieve success. Strategic Initiative 2, Standard 1 and 2, in collaboration with the district and building administration, prioritize programs focused on student well-being and equal access to opportunities, support, and deeper learning. Strategic Initiative 1 and 2, Standard 1 and 2, in collaboration with the Director of Student Services, Building Administration, and leaders, ensure special education programming promotes effective instruction of all learners. Key actions foster a culture that prioritizes teachers' voice and trust. District leadership team will develop relationships based on honesty, respect, and universal understanding of highly effective teaching and learning. Support work and deeper learning through instructional leadership teams seeking to strengthen implementation of high-quality instructional material, strong instruction, and culturally and linguistically sustaining practices. All administrators will develop the shared student learning goals and professional practice that are smart, specific, measurable, action-oriented, rigorous, and timely, and in line with the district's strategic plan initiatives. Provide teachers and staff with clarity around learning walk protocols and other administrative priorities and processes. Utilize data to identify specific instructional curricular needs in special education. Support implementation of bright and multi-tiered systems of support. Provide a comprehensive professional development plan to support strategic initiatives such as UDL, co-teaching, the new IEP, Google Power School, etc. The district leadership team will work closely with DESE, authorized vendor, to review our curricula for cultural and linguistic biases. We'll review the daily schedule for efficiency and identify opportunities for improvement and remediation with a focus on students. Provide open access to role and administrative meeting agendas. Benchmarks are listed on the side. Develop the analysis of the MCAS data from accountability data, we should call it. Administrative retreat, bi-weekly administrative meetings, open and rolling agenda that's published, SST data and results, schedule learning walks with administrators throughout the year, compile and record data from leadership learning walks to inform calibration and best practices, teacher feedback and performance data, and shared core values on those. So meeting agendas, goals, observations, and data, and develop a comprehensive district data dashboard so we can pull all that together. What's pertinent, what's usable, and what's important. District improvement goals, strategic initiatives, in collaboration with the business manager and building leaders, develop and implement a transparent and fiscally responsive budget process, plan focused on district priorities. Support and collaboratively lead the approval and opening of the new CDP program for both day and evening students. Support and collaboratively lead in development of a comprehensive district process for personnel on and off boarding, mandated training and professional development, as well as faculty, staff, student health and safety. Key actions work with the interim business manager to address areas of concern from the FY24 audit. Advertise, interview, select the business manager. Advertise, interview, select the district treasurer. Support business manager in the budget development process and communication collaboration with the town administrators and the school committee. Support school committee and work with building facility superintendents to develop and identify campus improvements and capital plan. Ensure budget reflects identified strategic plan initiatives. Ensure seamless transition to new financial systems and processes that are coming online. Support the director of CBP in the assessment of existing programming and identification, review, and assessment of potential new offerings. seek grant offerings and strategic partnerships to assist with development of these new offerings, support and work with human resource specialists to review, assess, update district onboarding, offboarding, as well as staff development and training, and support the building principal and work with first responders to review and develop a comprehensive crisis management plan for the school. Establishment, so the evidence establishing stakeholder committees to review and assess current systems and processes, schedule, financial, personnel practices, crisis management, et cetera. Establishment of student leadership opportunities where students will meet directly with the superintendent and principal to discuss improvement, recommendation and implementation of new systems. Hoppers, Tyler, ACAD, and Alice are just a few. Update policies that comply with state and federal laws, mandates, CBAs, and ethical guidelines. Again, meeting agendas, budget, completed professional development, data results, that's the data dashboard. We'll work on various stakeholder survey results, core values, crisis management plan will be complete, updated, faculty handbook, and mandated training policy. Professional practice goals, professional help to support the new district strategic plan. There's a link to it. Initiatives facilitate continuous improvement. Comprehensive strategic plan identifies the initiatives in many areas of district operations and takes a broad incremental approach to improvement. I'll work with the district leadership team to ensure fidelity to the plan to implement the critical work for ongoing improvement across several areas of operations with a focus on excellent management and operations. Establish new and build upon relationships with state, local legislators, community leaders, staff, students, school committee, business, industry, and higher ed to highlight the success of Bay Path learning community. Key actions: conduct school council meetings and utilize information to inform the future planning of the school culture. Conduct advisory meetings soliciting input on sustaining a culture of reflective practice. Engage in discussions with teachers to solicit teacher voice. Continue with evaluation calibration efforts, comparing evaluation data with learning walk data. Utilize faculty meetings to celebrate student achievement and recognize teacher efforts. Conduct collective bargaining with para-educators. Support the implementation of the strategic initiatives for the 24-25 school year. Work collaboratively with the building principal to create student leadership groups to elicit their feedback on student experiences. Strategic plan and implementation timeline. Monitor that monthly meetings with first responders and neighboring school leaders. We've already kicked that off. Minimum 3 learning walks per quarter. Those are being scheduled. Monthly superintendent, principal, student leadership councils. We had our first last week. Legislative meetings, stakeholder meetings, policy meeting review and updates. We'll continue that. And power negotiation meetings will commence this year. Agendas, contract.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept these goals.
So moved.
And a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Don?
Mr. President, on, I think in your previous goals, you had mentioned like focus indicators, and I don't see any, and I know we have to see the focus indicators when we do our final evaluation. Is it something that you left off there inadvertently, or do we not have to know those at this point?
Focus indicators?
Yeah, for instance, each of the standards has, for instance, yeah, focus indicators. For instance, 1A, curriculum, ensures that the instructional staff design effective. 1B, instruction ensures that the practices in all settings, etc. So I think you had identified those, and we have to do that on our evaluation at the end. We have to indicate whether or not you met that or not, you know, what your rating was. So unsatisfactory, needs improvement, professional, exemplary on those performance indicators. And I think you were supposed to do like 1 or 2 for a standard.
So those are on the evaluations. You're reviewing the metrics and what's submitted and the performance review. Those are on there, and you can rate me based on those.
So you don't have to identify them in the beginning as part of your goal setting.
I believe I followed the same format as last year.
I think we accept the goals first, and then when he gets us the data for us to do the evaluation, those performance indicators are on the, if I'm not mistaken, the focus indicators.
So the curriculum review.
We did that training with Tracy, go back that time. They had talked about indicators
I think you're right, if I could, through the chair. I think there's a lot of focus indicators, if I remember correctly. And the goal is to tie specific, out of that list of whatever it is, 35 focusing indicators, to tie a finite amount to each objective. And only those focus indicators that are tied to the specific objectives will measure against on our tally. We won't, give our evaluation of all 35 or whatever
No, we
focus
expect that.
indicators, just the ones that are tied to each goal is the way it should work. So I think it does need to be added on to your point.
Anything else on?
No.
Any other discussion?
Through the chair, would it behoove us to make sure that those are added before we take the vote? So,
I have no problem with that. We have a motion on the floor right now. We can definitely table it towards the next meeting if that's the pleasure of the board. Need a motion to table it.
I would make that motion.
Table, and I heard, so second. Any discussion? Can we do that? None? Call for the vote. All those in favor of tabling this to the next meeting? Opposed? Move it. Okay, thank you. Information and proposals, report from the superintendent director.
Through the chair, I submit a written report. I can answer any questions. Please, the board.
Okay. Subcommittee reports, audit subcommittee hasn't met yet, budget subcommittee hasn't met yet, building and grounds, my friend still hasn't met yet. Negotiation subcommittee, Dave.
We met previous to tonight's meeting, at 6:30. And, we voted to recommend, the appointment of the school business manager and also the executive assistant to the superintendent. We reviewed and recommended that both, items be approved by the school committee.
Thank you. Policy subcommittee, Peter.
Yes, we had met prior to this meeting to recommend to the full committee, school committee board for the changes in the admission policy, which was approved and passed. We also met last month to review the overall policy book as far as APAP with Tracy Novak. We also have another meeting with her on October 21st to continue reviewing the policies.
Excellent. Thank you. Warrant subcommittee. Just a reminder, warrants are available for signatures by all the school committee members at monthly meetings and during the day at the school. If you do come in the day at the school, please just call before to make sure someone's available to do that. Future business. The regular school committee meeting at 7 p.m. Monday, November 4th in this room. Topics for future agenda, obviously reach out to Kyle, Cheryl, Leah, or myself, and we will do our best to accommodate. Remarks from the superintendent director.
I just, again, want to thank Matthew for joining as the student rep. Welcome aboard. We look forward to your voice this year. I also want to extend another welcome to Leah as my executive assistant and to Cindy as the new business manager. I also, you might have left John, thank John for the tremendous amount of work and support, excellent support that he's putting into such a.
Thank you. Comments from the committee. Bob.
Welcome. For having our committee appearance. Good for you and great for us.
Bob.
Welcome to Cindy, Leah, and Matthew. Look forward to a great year and working with you.
Thank you. Don?
Thank you. I just have a couple comments. Last week when we went around to the, when we had the advisory dinner, fortunate to get to a couple different shops, and one of the students asked me about the new program or programs that were being introduced to the school, and I saw that a couple of the goals, Mr. Brenner had put those, made comments about that. And I was just wondering if programs have been decided on yet, or what, direction we're going into here.
Yep. So we are looking to put in a diesel technology program on that.
So we're in the works of finding out the new approval process for, getting a chapter 74 approved.
Thank you. And the second thing is, I know this is not a major concern for a lot of people, but I was very disappointed to hear that our hat policy that the subcommittee voted twice not to allow is not being enforced in school. And I know that kind of puts a lot of pressure on, I guess, the teachers too, because they don't know whether or not they should enforce the hat policy or not, because I guess it's been spoken that it's not a major problem and it's not going to be a topic that's going to be addressed. But my concern is it came twice before the board. It was at both times not to allow it, but we're going to allow it anyway. That's a concern of mine. Hopefully someday they'll come before the board again and maybe it'll change. But right now, the policy in the handbook says no hats. It should be enforced.
Thank you. Yeah? We're going around the room.
Oh, I have nothing to add. Sorry about that.
It wasn't a quiz, I promise.
Welcome Matthew, Leah, and Cindy. Welcome. And want to thank Steve Flash for stepping in and helping out.
Excellent. Thank you, Al.
I would certainly like to offer my welcome to Cindy Schofield and to Leah Lambert for joining this Baypath School Committee staff. Welcome.
Jim.
Welcome to all the newcomers. I had some really positive experiences here lately. Last year I got a brand new heating system in my house and I was up for my first service, and the guy that came out to do the service on it was Baypath alumni. And couldn't have been more helpful and more descriptive of Baypath and how it got him started in where he's at now, and he's done very well for himself. The other side is too is that my neighbor's granddaughter is in exploratory now here at Baypath, and they have noticed, and she has expressed that she's never been more excited about school than she is now. She's gone through a number of the courses. She's changed it up in her ideas of what she thinks she might want to do now from where she started to something else. She had a couple issues with biology class early on, but the staff was very quick to remedy the change and get her into the right class that she belonged in, and everybody's very receptive to any problems she's had. And it's just been overall a great experience for them. And I just would like to compliment everybody's staff and for making it happen. That's great. And I look forward to bringing my own granddaughter to the open house on the 24th. So.
Excellent. George.
Yes, so welcome, Cindy, Leah. Thank you to John for bailing us out, as he has over the years and continues to. Matthew, welcome. Nice to have you aboard. Did you tell mom and dad they couldn't come tonight for the first meeting? Tell them I was disappointed that they weren't here. Beyond that, congratulations to staff for picking up those MCAS scores, getting our kids to a point where we can start to compete with some of the other schools again academically. I'm impressed with the numbers. And not to beat a dead horse, but I'm once again saddened and disheartened by maybe not full of staff, but some of the things that they've had to say. I noticed even some administrators here. We're just not in a good situation. Why am I saddened and disheartened? Because this was once a family. I've worked with under eight different superintendents, between my school committee role, my role as administrator, and my role as a teacher. I've just never seen anything like this. I've never seen this kind of concern. Never seen this many departures. It's just saddening. And what's more sad, some of the older staff who aren't here, some of the short timers, they've already thrown in the towel. They wanted to leave for the past couple of years. They're going to get to the end. They're going to get that sick leave buyback. They're going to finish their time out here. They don't want to learn a whole new system. I feel for them. I feel sad that I'm in a better place. I feel sad that many of us are in a better place, and we almost felt guilty leaving. Something has to change. Something has to give. I'm not saying a change in leadership, but how about a change in the way that we lead? So it doesn't have to be this way. School system should be some place that people are happy to come into. It should be a family as it was once before. I'd like to see us get back to that. Don't let this fall upon deaf ears.
Thank you. Katie?
Hey, welcome to all the new people. Welcome, Matt. Everybody, I want to say, first of all, I absolutely love this school. I was SHS graduate. You know, it was back in the day when it was like, you know, you're going to college, you stay in your town. If you're not going to college, you come here. Now you've got kids fighting for spots to come here, whether they plan on going to college or not. My new role in my town, I'm in charge of the senior center. The school, the vocationals have been amazing to us. I came up here with 25 of my seniors last week for lunch. Culinary did an amazing job. In the spring, Health Tech came down for a health fair, and the kids did blood pressure screenings and stuff like that. Like, I've stayed in contact with a lot of people after my personal departure here in 2023. And what we do here is great. And it's absolutely amazing. But I have to say, I almost feel, as a 2002 graduate of Southbridge High School, everybody knows where Southbridge High is right now with receivership. It's not in a good place. You all know it. Let's call it what it is. It's not in a good place. I graduated in 2002. When I first started high school as a freshman, it was the best thing ever. Every year, it changed a little bit. Every year. By the time I became a senior, I was, like Matthew, very involved in student government. I was both class and student council vice president. I was involved in everything. And I found myself in front of the school committee one day saying, something's got to change. The morale in the building is not the same. Something's going on. You know, here I am, a kid talking to you. I'm not a chart. I'm not a number. I'm a person. I'm talking to you. Something's got to change. I graduate. I go to college. But I was only in Rhode Island. I still had a lot of friends in town or whatever. I still watched school committee meetings. It kept dwindling. It kept dwindling. You saw a mass exodus of great teachers that have been there forever. Back in 2010, 11, I went to go work in Southbridge High School as a food service director. That same thing I did here, over there. And I couldn't believe what I saw. It broke my heart. This is my alma mater. This is where, you know, I bleed red and white. I'm Pioneer Pride all the way through. I still have my Pioneer Pride. I still go there. I coached while I was there. I coached field hockey. I coached softball. I'm still very involved in the things that are going on in my town. But to see my town, the school where my pride was, just going down, going down, going down, it's like a sense of deja vu when I see the teachers here screaming for help. Something needs to change. The last thing I want is to see Bay Path fall down that same path. It's heartbreaking to see my own town like that, and to see, I mean, yeah, I'm only a town over, but still, now I'm purple and gold. You know what I mean? I spent 9 years here with you guys. My first 6 years here, the morale, I even put it on my exit interview paper, whatever. The morale was through the roof. My first Santa breakfast, I was tripping over people in my kitchen because everybody wanted to help. My last Santa breakfast, I had 3 of my kitchen staff, Dina LePage's husband, and the guy from, I can't even say it right, Horseman. That dude, he likes to come and flip pancakes. That was it. I feel like it's almost kind of like a bad divorce where it's like we need to work together because who at the end of the day is being punished? The kids. We need to work together. Not saying everybody's got to be best friends. Like, you know, you have to be best friends, but we have one goal. And that's to help these kids succeed. And we have to work together to make it happen. It literally breaks my heart to see how much has changed so quickly. And I think something needs to be done. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of disappointed that it took all the way up to George for somebody to address it. You can have a turn. I'm done.
Well, let me tell you about the athletics. Congratulations to very successful girls soccer and obviously the football team doing very, very well. I would like to bring up, are we in the application process right now for home building? For a house building project?
No.
That's coming up shortly?
This trip, when's that going?
Share that with you next month.
Excellent, okay, so it is short. I was very disappointed last year, we received one application. If we follow similar suit, and I brought this up probably a couple of years ago, I would like us to look at the possibility of dedicating ourselves to building, I don't know, veteran homes or something that we can really get behind and provide a benefit. And I know that the advertising last year, I believe, was much better than what we have done in the past. Yet still only had one application, or one completed application. So just to put a thought in our minds, we may need to look seriously at another direction.
Anne Marie?
I really don't know what to say. It's been a long night. I truly believe that we're here to support the school, the students, the faculty, as well as the management. And that's what I come here to do.
Don?
I like her speech. Simple, to the point, keep it simple. I also like to welcome, our new members, the staff and the administration. So, yeah, keep it simple.
Mary?
Yeah, I feel like there's so many wonderful things going on from, the sports, our MCAS scores. Look at where they are with teachers feeling this way. Imagine what they could be if we built them up and provided a culture and boosted morale around here. I mean, we could be the top school, truly. I think we really need to fix some things.
Yes.
Welcome, Cindy and Matthew. And I mean, I feel for the teachers. I don't know exactly what's going on. I have my bachelor's in teaching. I mean, I know where they're at, but all three of my kids graduated from here and they all are successful. They have great jobs. They have great experience here. My brother graduated here in 1991 in metal fab. I mean, everybody always talks about how positive this school is, and it's just sad to hear what's going on with the teachers. And I want to help as much as we can and support them. That's it.
Yep.
Welcome to everyone who's new here tonight. Look forward to working with each and every one of you. Yeah, I'm a little bit, I think we all are challenged with next steps. And, we've heard, words like disheartened, heartbreaking, things of that nature. And while true, it just doesn't get us to a solution. So I guess what I'm thinking and asking everyone is to challenge ourselves to think outside the box of what that solution might look like and how we get there. Because I think we've talked about different things over the past several months, but never reached a conclusion or even had a discussion of next steps and spitballing solution ideas. And in doing that, I think it's very, very important to understand, and I like the analogy that Kathleen made with it's like a bad divorce, and two parents trying to work together to raise a child. And ultimately what that usually results in is each parent compromising to some degree on certain things and coming to a common resolution for the better good. And I think in order, as we think through how we solution and how we next step things, that has to be at the forefront of our mind, because there is no solution under any of the issues that have come about that's gonna be one-sided or one way. It's gonna take change from both sides, and I hope that everybody involved understands that and doesn't have an expectation that change is gonna come from one side or the other. It's gonna come from both sides. And I guess, you know, to the extent that I have the ability to challenge somebody, or we do, you know, I'll challenge the administration to help brainstorm what our next steps and solutioning ideas might be. I would ask that, you know, our teachers challenge themselves and come up with the same, because if we sit here and talk about generics without specifics, I don't know what we can fix. But I also don't know that as a committee, we can get into all the specifics behind some of the things that were noted tonight. So that's where we're challenged, figuring out how we can fix things when the committee only knows of, has awareness of very high level overviews of things and not the specifics that have gone into each and every one of those circumstances. And I think that's where the partnership and the open-mindedness and the flexibility and the cooperation between administration and teachers has to come into play. It's not going to happen from one side or the other. And so I would ask everyone to work towards a solution that integrates compromise, understanding, partnership across all sides that have to work through the problems. I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you.
Ellen?
Welcome to Leah, Matt, and Cindy, and thanks to the teachers for coming and expressing their concerns. George and Katie, you can always count on Katie to have a lot of good comments, and all of you who spoke to the subject. Hope there's a solution at some point. And the second thing I wanted to say is, I was here last week for lunch with my oldest friend, and she hadn't been up here since the doors opened, I guess. And she commented that the school is so immaculate. I think we should let them know when we see them in the corridors that they do a great job. It's very clean.
Dave?
It's always good going last, listening to everybody's comments, and I can only echo a lot that's been said here. And to Joe's point, yeah, but you got a lot of talent sitting here at this table, at this square table, rectangle table. You have a lot of talent behind us also. So I would ask that you use us and the staff and use that talent to go forward. You know, keep going forward. So good points, Joe. And like to welcome Leah, Cindy, Matthew. Congratulations on being selected. It's always nice on the resume also. And want to thank the teachers for all their efforts for MCAS, for their both vocationally and academically. Thank you for that. So that's all I got. Thanks.
All right. When you said you got to go last, I thought I left.
Second here.
All right. So it's like you just said. It's very hard to echo what we said. Again, I've been on this board for a fairly long time, and I can say we've had involvement both ways, different reasons throughout those years. Good years, bad years. But for the most part, they've been a lot of great years, and I'd love to see those come back in. I was at that dinner last week with the amount of participation from both the faculty, the outside stakeholders, the inside people on this very board. That's one of the largest dinners I've seen in quite some time. And again, Jimmy, I know you don't like talking much about. You did a great job in there. That showing the kids that are coming up the ranks, the 7th and 8th graders that are already vying to get here on this wait list that is just never ending. It speaks as to what these people are doing, because the ones that took their time to teach that summer camp. I've never seen kids. I mean, my kids having their friends over and just, I mean, we're screwed. The amount of kids that want to come to this school, and it's because of the things you guys do to teach, you own. And again, it's not just the trades; it's the academic side. I have a freshman here this year. I've been sitting here a long time. I've never had a vested interest like this. And what Jim said, his neighbor's grandkid, is coming home happy. I've never seen my kid come home from school that happy since kindergarten. I mean, honest to God, you get a smile on your face at the end of the day, and it's not she's scheming on a way to, beat me up and get me, take advantage of something I've done for her, but it's just refreshing, and it's because of you guys. It's none of us at this table. We're just here, we dedicate our time, we volunteer, we run for election. It's their blood, sweat, and tears, it's the administration, from top all the way to bottom. I mean, again, it can happen that we all get back on the same page, and I hope we do. Whatever it takes, we gotta figure it out. But again, thank you for everyone for your input, it was very good. Welcome to all the new people, again, I don't have to keep saying, and I don't think you can fit another thing on your resume. 2 jobs for this, and I don't know how you have the time to be here right now, so again, thank you for volunteering. With that, we are gonna move into the next part of the meeting, which is executive session, the contract negotiation. And I'm gonna entertain a motion for MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. From Union VPTA, Level 3 grievance, and to reconvene in open session only for agenda.
So, second.
A motion and a second, and this will require a roll call vote, so. Amy,
Yes.
Bill Becker,
Yes.
Al Beelan. Jim Caldwell.
Yes.
Stephanie Goder. Don Collette. Dave Grenier.
Yes.
Mary Johnson.
Yes.
I am a yes. Helen.
Yes.
Don.
Yes.
Anne Marie.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Peter Scher.
Yes.
Kim Scher.
Yes.
Thank you very much. George Shelby.
Thank you.
George, gonna be.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Barry is absent. Bob Tremblay.
Yes.
Jeff Wenzel. Bob Stokowski. Okay, we're gonna enter into